The story of Barabbas and Jesus really caught my attention this morning. As I was working out, I was reading John or listening to John at the end of the book of John, chapter 19. And the story of Barabbas to me is always just one of those tragic stories that you see Jesus, who is arrested under false pretenses by the chief priests and the scribes and the Pharisees, and Pilate offers to release them a prisoner, as was the custom of the day. And the people ask, the religious leaders ask to have Barabbas, who was a murderer, probably an insurrectionist, to be released instead of Jesus. And I always thought that was tragic. You're asking someone who's a murderer, who is trying to overthrow the government by force, to be released instead of Jesus, who did nothing wrong and in fact helped people. His friend Lazarus, who had been dead, was walking around with him. And I thought, man, how tragic that is. But as I was listening to it this morning, it caught my attention that they didn't want Jesus released because he claimed authority, because he spoke with authority, because he had undeniable proof that he was who he said he was, and that is God. And so they would rather have a murderer free than they would have Jesus speaking into their lives and having authority over that. And it got me thinking, sort of in my own life and in our lives, how often do we listen to other voices other than Jesus? Like, how often do we listen to a coworker or a well-meaning friend or some random person we saw on TikTok rather than listening to Jesus? Because we're uncomfortable with what Jesus says about us, or we're uncomfortable with what Jesus says about the world, and as a result, we would rather listen to a murderer than to someone who has done nothing wrong ever and has proved undeniably that he is God. And made me think, I need to be careful where in my life I am choosing Barabbas over listening to Jesus. That's my thoughts working out this morning.